They're the quirky old souls with childlike wonder, deep, empathetic dreamers whose abstract minds contain entire galaxies. Yet as enchanting as INFPs can be, their ethereal qualities often trigger intense irritations in those around them. 1. The oversharing, rambling vortexes INFPs have zero verbal filters connecting brain to mouth. Their scattery stream of consciousness dialogues careen wildly across tangential idea galaxies, each spun off into meandering sojourns of self-indulgent navel-gazing. What starts as a simple coffee shop chat descends into convoluted intellectual soapboxing or intimate overshares about their tragic childhood. Conversation hostages get sucked into black holes of weird personal trivia about their lucid dream journals, synesthesia hallucinations, or arcane metaphysical obsessions until they finally achieve merciful escape velocity. 2. Walking melancholy drainpipes. With their raw nerves and permeable empathy sponges, INFPs exist in a perpetual state of feeling deeply about everything. This means their maudlin gloominess also operates on an atmospheric, even environmental scale. Simply being near one can trigger contagious, infectious despair flowing outward through their intense moping. Like a pessimistic sadness virus, their heavy blanketed malaise dampens the mood of any gathering until everyone wallows in the same depressive gray funk. Even during happy occasions, their always the tragedy outlook finds a rain cloud for every silver lining. 3rd, delusional messiah. Complex's INFP's idealism lights up their imaginations like children. One moment they're daydreaming about finally writing their magnum opus indie film script. The next, they've concocted an intricate shared universe fan fiction spanning 17 volumes and complex mythological languages. Blurring fantasy with reality, their convictions in pursuing these quixotic creative quests becomes evangelical. Any skepticism challenging their fever dream beliefs is met with stubborn naivete and blind self-righteousness, deflecting pragmatic concerns to uphold their detached subjective experience. After all, they are modern society's misunderstood seer bringing new revelations. What hubris. 4th, moral grandstanding, bleeding hearts. The soapbox never stays vacant for long around INFP social justice warriors. Any political or philosophical debate launches them delivering self-important lectures about the wages of societal inequity and systemic privilege oppression, appropriating every personal grievance into an ideologically driven cause for righteousness. These white paladins can't avoid broadcasting their fierce moral convictions. Their sullen preaching quickly induces eye rolls as they turn the most benign topics into self-congratulatory Genevan Convention treatises, protesting gentrification, sweatshop labor, or toxic masculinity microaggressions. It's paradoxical how emotionally empathetic their bleeding hearts run, yet how utterly draining their pontificating happens to be. 5. Responsibility, ghost, avoidance. As delightfully unconventional as their magical grasshopper minds seem, the tethers of adult commitment send INFPs floating through selfish avoidance. Viewing themselves as too ethereal for mundane bureaucracies or chores, their heads remain perpetually in enlightened ascension above the clouds. Unrealistic optimism and absent-mindedness compound into chronic flakiness, missed deadlines, and irresponsible antics, from forgetting bills, botching appointments, or blowing off important functions last minute. Their free bird drifting between rabbit-hole fixations drives the practical world utterly insane. 6th, conflict-swallowing confrontation. Phobia's INFP's trepidation with social conflict makes even minor disagreements feel seismically disruptive. Their desperate people-pleasing compulsions contort them into virtuoso, dishonest yes-men, smiling through resentments and grievances until achieving a grotesquely passive-aggressive limit. Then comes the inevitable emotional eruption. Their cathartic seething, speaking their truth, unravels through toxic guilt purges and cynical grudge-holding. An endless cycle of emotional bottlenecks and hollow reconciliation apologies ensues, lacking any genuine resolution. Their fear of relational turbulence traps them in this self-persecuting limbo. 7. Warping reality into fanciful safe spaces. To INFPs, this cold adult world is a brutish or Orwellian dystopia suppressing their precious auras. Cocooning within romanticized daydreams and escapist ideations sustains them. But a little imagination quickly snowballs into full delusional construct alternate realities where they're the misunderstood heroes. Their homes become magical safe space sanctuaries adorned with whimsical plush toys and fantasy artwork, transporting them to cherished storybook mindsets. Problems fester as this child's retreat from responsibility spirals into solipsistic escapism. They procrastinate living authentically by retreating into make-believe personal mythologies where their insecurities can reign unchallenged. Self-indulgent regression eventually eroding their grip on sober rationality. 8. Social chameleon identity. Dysmorphia INFPs suffer from an almost pathological desperation to conform socially by overcompensating through impressionistic personality mirroring. With natural outsider complexes, they overextend into eager-to-please chameleonic chameleons, shapelifting different identities to gain acceptance. One minute they're parroting a goth poet's affectations for an audience of emo kids. The next, an ashram yogi's mystical pretensions for new agey types. This desperate code switching breeds distrust, their fragmented personas appearing disingenuous or dishonest. An ever-shifting amalgam of superficial performative traits cobbled together to feign belonging, yet lacking any cohesive core identity anchoring them. So while their childlike mysticism seduces us to forgive countless social offenses, these idiosyncratic tendencies quickly grate with prolonged exposure. INFP's mercurial genius comes bundled alongside maddening, insouciant flaws, but like wisps of fairy dust, their ephemeral spirits evaporate before annoyances calcify into lasting disgruntlement. Their refreshing spark of cosmic uniqueness overcomes any reasonable objection to their exasperating quirks. No wonder we can't help secretly adoring these lovable space cadets.